All right, partygoers, welcome back to Zero Dark Nerdy, the galaxy's most average dad and daughter podcast, brought to you by Fox 8 WGHP here in North Carolina, with brand new episodes coming to you every week on the Fox 8 WGHP YouTube channel, as well as on my Fox 8 Plus. Big thank you to our friends over at Zipster for our amazing website. Be sure to hit them up for all of your website and SEO needs. You can find them at zibster.com. Of course, we cannot forget our favorite comic book store on the planet with 3 amazing locations right here in North Carolina. Be sure to check out Sailfish Comics for all of your action figure, graphic novel, and comic book needs. Golden Ticket Cinemas for all of your cinematic adventures from right here in Greensboro to as far as Colorado. Be sure to hit up your local Golden Ticket Cinemas. Last but definitely not least, the Pearl in downtown Greensboro for all of your music needs. Amazing new live venue. Amazing groups, amazing acts, great prices, great sound, the whole 9 yards, and a very, very beautiful bar. So be sure to hit up the Pearl. That's Pyrle for all local shows. Big shout outs to Dom and Abby for taking care of us on our trivia nights, which, by the way, you can find on GSO Events on Instagram, and as well as on our very own website. Brand new web address. Awesome website still. It's zdnpodcast.com. Videos, podcast episodes for the audio, events, and more. So be sure to check it out, ZDN Podcast. This is your boy, Brian, a.k.a. El Nino, a.k.a. the Hawaiian Shirt King. And today we are joined with our very own Crypto. We got Lucy here on the couch, and, as always, my beautiful assistant,
Jordan, a.k.a. Baby Knife. Knife?
And hopefully the Crypto reference gave it away. We are going to be talking about all things Supergirl. We went this past Sunday to check it out over at, of course, Golden Ticket Cinemas with me, her, B, Juan, and, of course, Ashley and Hattie. We're just going to kind of go over reviews, some fun facts, and more. As far as just some quick Supergirl facts for you. Supergirl first appeared in Action Comics number 252 back in 1959.
Wow.
She was, it's been a minute. She was created by Otto Binder, I hope I pronounced his last name correct, and Al Plastino. Unlike Superman, Kara Zor-El is actually a member, was not just born in Krypton, but is from Krypton, so she remembers it. So she was raised there. So unlike Clark, who was, pretty much born and then shipped off to the U.S. to Earth,
Kansas,
to Kansas, good old Smallville. This movie was heavily inspired by Tom King's acclaimed graphic novel Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow. Originally projected at like 70 million just in the U.S., it only did 38 million domestic, and then worldwide, with the domestic, only did 68 million. So not even
on opening day,
or opening weekend.
Opening weekend.
So not the start that they were looking for. The production budget was around 170 to 185 million.
Jesus.
So not even including advertising, which is going to be about another 100 million. This film needs to make about 300 million to even break even, which it's not looking good for the first daughter of Krypton over here, and of course Clark, Superman's cousin. So not a great start. We're going to get into it a little bit, just kind of is it superhero fatigue? What's going on? Go from there. But let's just start with just kind of overall impressions with Jordan, aka Baby Knife.
I mean, it was good. It was a lot of fun. Definitely heavy on the action, which is cool. I will say, for the complainers, which I was not one of them, I love Superman, but for the complainers who's like, oh, he got beat up too much or whatever, you're going to hate this one. She gets beat up a lot of the movie. Mm-hmm. She's getting thrown around. And then, there's fight scenes, too, where she's boss moves.
Oh, yeah. There's Red Planet Supergirl.
Right.
And then there's Yellow Planet
and Green
Supergirl.
Planet.
Well, Red Planet, a little bit of background for you, and we'll try to make this as spoiler-free as possible. Red Planet Supergirl is pretty much a normal person, whereas if you saw the last Superman film, even Clark, at the end of the movie, says that their people can only get drunk where the planet has a red sun because they're pretty much normal.
Yeah.
Whereas yellow sun, that's where they get all their powers from.
Abilities, and then there's a big part kind of in the third act more so where she's on a green and yellow, green and yellow planet. So it's like green half of the day, and then yellow the other half. And so when it's green, she's like dying.
It's pretty much like a krypton.
Yellow, she can kind of get the powers back. So, yeah, like you see all those versions of her and like having to fight in all those versions as well. So, I mean, it's very like, yeah, I'm just saying she just gets, there's a lot of her getting beat up, and so the complainers for Superman.
People are always going to be complaining.
Yeah, right. Which I'm like, it's the first movie for both of them. It's like their first movie into this.
Yeah.
What a James Gunn verse, DC verse or whatever. So I don't really personally, that doesn't really bother me. But just warning you, I didn't really have any expectations for it going in. I didn't go in expecting it to be like the best movie ever, and I didn't expect it to be the worst, and that's kind of what I got. Like, just kind of fell in the middle for me. I thought the performances were great. Nobody did a bad performance at all. To me, it just kind of came down to the writing. It was just a little bit, I guess you could just cliche, like stereotypical, the kind of beats you see in just a lot of movies. It just didn't feel like super original writing, which was the most disappointing thing for me. When me and my friend Wampy and my girlfriend B were talking about it after, our theory is that, like, we believe, like, what maybe most likely happened. I bet there was a great script written for this movie, and it probably just got beaten down by, like, getting tossed around the studio and, like, oh, we need to hit this beat, this beat, this beat for audience, like, satisfaction, whatever. And I feel like the script, I'm hoping it was something great, and it feels like, unfortunately, it was just kind of muddled down, and it was a bit messy at times. There's a lot going on.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, there's a big middle section that just kind of dragged out. And so it just left it a little bit muddled. Again, it was a lot of fun. It was just, it didn't feel really cohesive.
It was a mess.
I don't know. It was just kind of messy.
It was all over the place.
I just think the script got torn down, and it's so many cliche beats that you see in so many movies in this one, and I wanted it to be something different, but it was just very, like, on the nose, like, what's happening the whole time. That was my problem. Like, it's just beat by beat, like, you just know what's going to happen every 2 seconds pretty much, based on, like, the archetypes that they laid out with her and the girl, and it was just kind of like boring. It was just a little bit boring. I just wish the story itself, like the plot, had more to it, or it was just written differently or something. So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Great take. With the writing, I just want to get this out of the way, and I'm not one to point fingers. We try not to bash here at Zero Dark Nerdy. At the end of the day, we know that these people are doing their best. Everyone's got a job to do. It is what it is, but we're also trying to be truthful at the same time. Now, the writer, Anna Naguera, again, I apologize. We are not great with names here at Zero Dark Nerdy. The only thing she ever did before this was she wrote like a short film.
Really?
That was it. Yeah, I'm looking at, like, the writing credits and everything, and it's a 12-minute movie called We Win.
But I'm not gonna lie, and no shade to her either. I mean, I haven't written,
right.
I've written a short, like, a lot of feature films, so great for her. I mean, again, it was not a horrible movie. It just was very, like, in the middle, kind of just, flat. Yeah. But it was very, like, that's funny you say that now that I have that context, because it was very, like, textbooky, the way that the script was written. Yes. Like, it's very film school, like, this had, like, the rise and fall. Sure. And, like, it was very, again, kind of predictable. Like,
yeah. And, I mean, granted, she was brought on to adapt Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, the graphic novel, the comic book. I just question where that came in, where they would give somebody the reins who's only written a short story, even if they're just adapting. I mean, adapting's not the easiest thing to do, especially if it's a graphic novel, a book, the whole 9 yards, unless you actually have that person. Right. It would have been great to figure out how they could have maybe gotten somebody from Tom King's estate in, or however they could have figured it out.
Yeah, that is interesting.
For instance, one of the movies that has one of the very few 5-star reviews from both of us that came out earlier this year, Project Hail Mary, the writer himself also was a big part. He was a producer. So the
Right.
writer of the book helped with
So,
the screenplay.
do you know, was Tom King, were they involved at all, or we don't know?
I don't think so. I was trying to do some research on
Yeah,
that before
maybe
the
not.
episode.
That is an
Um,
interesting question, though. Like, why?
yeah,
I mean, yeah. I mean, I definitely, I don't want to, like, I'm not gonna bash it too much because, like, it's
right,
great to give new artists chances at
right.
this too. I mean, it's amazing. And again, it could have
Yeah,
gone. It could have been a lot. It could have been a lot worse.
yeah.
It's not. It's not the worst DC movie.
No,
It's not the worst whatever.
no. Just like you
But
said, the performances were great. Millie Alcock, just a star
yeah,
in the
she's
making.
great as Supergirl.
Great as Supergirl. She was fantastic in season 1 of House of the Dragon. She's going to go very far. I thought she was great. Supergirl was a mess. She's still kind of reeling over what the events of Krypton, and then of course when Krypto gets hurt, then this movie really becomes more. It's like a mix between like John Wick, Mad Max. Because
Yeah,
the villain definitely reminded me
yeah, me
of
too.
Guardians and Mad Max a little
Yeah,
bit,
for
and of
sure.
course
Yeah,
that's where the James Gunn comes in, and then the girl whose family was killed. It was very much like True Grit. So you have the
yeah.
combination of these three things, which normally, if that's what you're pitching, I can just be
Sounds great.
right. If you're pitching this to us in a room, like imagine, Crypto is hurt, so you got the John Wick element, and then you throw in this guy that's like a Mad Max kind of villain, and then this girl who's trying to avenge, and you have True Grit. I
Yeah.
mean, everybody in the
On
boardroom would be
paper,
like,
it's like
thumbs up, right? So again, the performances were good. The villain did leave a little bit to be desired, but I don't mind that, especially in a first movie. When people go nuts about, well, the villain this, villain that. Like, what do you want her to fight? To fight like Darkseid on like the very first film. One of the
no.
big
Yeah,
baddies. Like, you want them to warm up and get the backstory. And of course, let's not forget, Jason Momoa was born to play Lobo.
yeah.
You
Lobo
know,
was pretty funny.
Cannot
It
wait.
was a good
Obviously, we
character.
wanted more Lobo, but of course, they didn't want him to overshadow
Yeah,
her
I
in
feel
the
like it was the
film.
perfect amount. I'm
Perfect
not
amount.
gonna lie.
Perfect
Like I
amount.
think more would have been too much
Sure.
relying on him, but it was like
Yeah.
perfect. They integrated him in the story
Yep.
pretty well. That was like one of the
And
best
it
things
didn't
about the
seem
movie is
forced either.
integrating him into
Yes.
it, and which is interesting. Especially, I had no idea who that character really is besides like just the iconography. I know what he looks like,
Yeah.
and like I've seen comic book
Sure.
covers, but I did not really know the character. So I feel like it's a great introduction for people who
100%.
like I didn't know Lobo before, and now I do, and
Yeah.
it's awesome.
I think
definitely-
it's just like you said, a great introduction for a lot of us that maybe aren't Lobo super fans and don't really know. If anything, I think it's definitely going to push more issues and in terms of the comic books and garner more interest into
and like
that
a Lobo
dynamic.
movie.
Of course,
I'm
and that's
sure.
got to come
Yeah.
down the pipeline. But that was great. This movie, though, it was weird because it felt rushed, but it also dragged.
Yes.
Like, I couldn't, after the first hour, I was like, oh man, we still got like another almost hour of this. But
Yeah.
then it also, like, I just wanted more of her backstory on either, a little bit more Krypton, and honestly a little bit more on Earth too.
Yeah.
And not
I
like
think-
why she didn't like
I
Earth. And
think
that's the thing,
they-
because she was not really running away per se, but she was, and just trying to get drunk on these red planets and hang out with Krypto. But what was it about her introduction to Earth that she
Right. That
really
was a
didn't
kind of
like?
a big loophole.
Very big
Was
loophole.
just like why did Metropolis like never come around to her? Because you see like a brief scene where she's in Metropolis, like in her room,
Right.
just like zoning out to music.
Yeah.
But it's like, yeah, you just needed more
Yeah.
of. I think they needed to hone in on like some of the concepts
Yes.
and like
And
instead.
even her getting her powers too, because you don't even see her really. Because like Clark's like, all right, your powers are about to kick in like right now, and then we don't see anything.
Yeah, I think they liked too many. They wanted to tell like so many parts of the story, but it ended up just resulting in like a muddled half. You get half the story of all these parts of her instead of getting a real feeling for why she is the way. Like getting that deeper connection. That was lacking in this movie.
Yeah.
Was a deeper connection. I mean, you kind of get it, Supergirl, but even with I don't know, even with the dog too, which I love in Superman.
Yeah.
And I love him in this movie as well, but they could have done it in such a different way to where we felt more emotionally connected
Yeah.
to everybody.
I agree.
I think they took too many parts and like tried to make a whole, and they should have just kind of focused in on some of those aspects more,
Yes.
and then left some for later. We
Yeah.
find out later. Like we could have done
Yep.
some of the storytelling later where you can give more time to it, but they would give you bits and pieces of like all these parts of her life without giving the actual context of like why are we
Right.
seeing this? Like what does that
Right.
mean?
It's almost like getting into Star Wars without knowing what the heck is going on. Like
Yeah.
we still need the backstory. And one of the not funniest, but one of the things when George Lucas first showed like Spielberg and all his buddies, Brian De Palma, the whole crew, Star Wars. I forgot which one it was, but they were like, "This looks okay, but we don't understand like what is going on."
When you have like fantasy and superhero and things like that, and you have world building, which
Yeah.
is cool.
Yeah.
But it's a big task, and I imagine it's very difficult to like you have to immerse people in that whole world you built,
Right.
or else they're gonna be like
That.
what is this?
Yeah.
That's just part of that genre of
Yep.
whatever. I think world building is so impressive. Like,
Oh, gosh.
especially, and it's a lot easier to do like in a book where you have a lot less restrictions.
Oh, 100%.
Whereas a movie, you've got lots of restrictions
Yeah.
coming from everywhere.
Yeah.
Time, studio, just script, everything. So it's a lot easier doing a book versus a movie. You've got to really dedicate yourself to giving us the context of the world and the characters in context of that world.
Yeah. You
Yeah,
can't
I
just
think-
throw us right in there and expect us to know what's going on. So back to my point with the Star Wars story, that's where George Lucas came up with the scrolling thing at the beginning of all the Star Wars movies
Okay.
was to let us know, okay, well,
Yeah,
there's this
which
going
many
on, the
movies do,
Rebels,
yeah.
and it's great. And
Blade Runner does that.
Right.
I'm sure a lot. I mean, there's so many movies that take on
Oh,
a
yeah.
lot of world building movies, like Dune. I don't think Dune does it, but that would fit as I think.
well,
does Dune do
it doesn't do it like Star Wars does it, but yeah, Dune does it in the beginning.
Yeah, a lot of those
You know.
big worlds, like fantasy worlds.
Yeah, and I mean, I respect the writers for doing it. I mean, when in terms of world building, besides Tolkien, George R.R. Martin with his whole, Song of Ice and Fire, or Fire and Ice, however you say it. I mean, world upon world and families and this and the history.
Yeah.
It's wild.
And it makes sense why. Is that the writer of what of
Game of Thrones.
That's what I thought. Game of Thrones.
Mhm.
That it makes sense why like world building shows are as successful as they are because
Yeah.
then you have so much more time to like
Exactly.
focus in on these little parts of people's lives and different characters have
Yeah.
certain episodes and like it's just a lot more. You have way more chance of success with the show format as
Yeah.
far as world building to me,
Yeah.
or like a multi-movie already well-known franchise like Harry Potter or something.
Sure.
Like you know what I mean?
Sure. No, totally get it. So yeah, the performances were good. The story definitely lacked. A couple things stood out to me. No mid or post credit scene.
Right.
Very weird. And
Did
Superman did, but they weren't the greatest either. So the mid credit, because I just rewatched Superman the other day actually. The mid credit scene is just real quick. Him and Krypto are on like the moon, and they're just looking at Earth. So it's just a cute
It
little,
is very cute.
yeah,
but-
just a cute little scene. But then like the end credit one, it's him and Mr. Terrific, and they're looking at like a crack in one of the buildings.
yeah.
So I mean, still left a lot to be desired. And of course, we got Clayface coming, and that's gonna be rated R, and it's still gonna apparently be a part of this universe, I believe, for the new DCEU. But another thing that stood out to me too, for a James Gunn, even though it's not directed by him, but obviously he's still a producer on it. He's one of the heads now of DC Studios. For a James Gunn property known for their tremendous soundtracks, I felt like the soundtrack for this one just was not good.
I'm glad you brought because that's definitely one of my biggest gripes.
Yeah.
Is the soundtrack was. I don't know who came up with it. I'm going to tell you what it feels like, and I don't know what the truth is behind it. Whoever did the music for this movie, and I'm sorry to, I am bashing a little bit whoever did the music, chose the music for this movie,
Yeah.
but like it feels like, this is very curated, like it feels like a man chose this music for what they think girls want to hear.
Oh wow,
And
yeah.
like action-y fight scenes, and it's not at all what we wanted to hear. That last fight scene, which sucks because it was the best fight scene where you get to see Supergirl, like, actually kick
dominate
some butt.
Yeah.
Like, it was really cool, and she's just slamming them around and the speed behind it.
Yep.
But the song was awful.
Terrible.
It was a cover of what? It's a punk song, a very well-known.
Oh gosh.
Hold on, I gotta see.
Yeah,
this.
go ahead. Yeah, because we definitely need a dish on it. Yeah, because I knew the song, and that's another thing too. I knew the song, and I was like, why are they doing a cover version of this? Because it was like a girly cover.
Is it The Middle?
Yes,
Jimmy
The Middle.
Eats
Jimmy Eat World.
Yeah, it's like a slowed down acoustic cover of like a female singer.
Mm-hmm.
And it just did. It
just
made
play
no
the original,
sense.
if anything. But yeah,
that would have been honestly because it was slowed down acoustic, and it was like trying to be a nostalgic fight scene.
Sure.
But it was also the coolest fight scene. Again, I think it was just trying to be a lot of things.
Yeah.
And it just I can't wait till like I have access to that scene so I can just download it and put what I would want to hear behind that.
We should. Why? We should actually do that.
How did we land on that? It was very infuriating.
I like that. So let's do this. You pick 3 songs, I pick 3 songs, and we'll do a social media clip on it that we think would be a better fit.
Yeah, so stay tuned for that.
It was very surprising because if anything, not that James Gunn has made too many of these terrible movies, and again, he didn't direct it. I think he had some involvement with the writing, but yeah, the soundtrack just was not up to par.
No, and I'm confused too because she's wearing a Blondie shirt the whole time, and I do like the trailer with "Call Me Blondie."
Right.
I was kind of waiting for that.
Right.
That never came.
Never dropped, just on the trailer.
Like, I would have liked, if they kind of went down that genre of music and that time period for, like, punk and rock and girl bands, but they didn't.
Right, yeah, because they could have done the Runaways. Like, Barracuda would have been a great one to play.
I'm just confused.
I know that's not the Runaways, but, Cherry Bomb.
No, but it's the same singer.
But still, exactly. They could have done a lot with the soundtrack, and definitely not a James Gunn movie that I'm going to be buying for the soundtrack. Like, crushed it on all the Guardians films. Suicide Squad film was fantastic with the soundtrack as well. Of course, Superman, especially ending with Punk Rocker.
Right.
But, I don't know if they just ran out of money or funding.
Something had to have happened
or
there.
what, because I'm like, James, come on, man. Don't tell me you were also in charge of the music for this film, please.
I don't think so.
And again, we're not trying to bash too much.
I don't think so.
But, it's decent. Rewatchability factor, if it's on and I don't really feel like flipping through the channels, I'll probably keep it on the TV. But it's not one where I'm like, if I see it on Netflix or HBO or whatever, I'll be like, oh, Supergirl's on. I'm hoping this isn't it for Millie Alcock. Again, I definitely think she's fantastic. But yeah, those are definitely my biggest complaints, though. Again, the villain didn't upset me as much as it did most people.
The villain was
It was
good.
the story and
no
the
context
soundtrack.
of him either.
Yeah, we just didn't. It just went too much. Like, here's this scene. Here's this scene. Here's this scene. Like, we need a little bit more backstory. Like, this one sped too much. And it's not like we need the whole, like, Superman Smallville backstory. Like, I thought they did a great job with Superman.
Integrating, like, Superman's background.
Right.
They did that perfectly.
Right. It was just enough because we don't always, anytime we get introduced to, like, another person playing another hero, right, we don't always need to see the origin. Like, for instance, with The Batman, you don't have to see Bruce's parents getting killed for the 500th time. You know what I mean? Or Clark's dad and Superman getting killed again, which I still love the Snyderverse. I don't care what anyone says. But I'm also giving this a chance. I'm not one of those, like, I cannot stand people that are like, you're not a true fan if you don't know the comics or the source material. I can be a fan of whatever I want.
Most annoying. Gatekeeping fans are the most annoying.
They are the worst. The worst.
The worst.
The worst. Oh, gosh. Insert John Ralphio clip right here. So, yeah, I think it's time to rate. I'm just trying to look over my notes, see if there's anything I might have missed. But, yeah, I mean, is it worth seeing in theaters? Sure. You know what I mean? Again, it's not the worst thing we ever seen. There's still a lot of confusion with what's going on with Warner Brothers being sold to Paramount and what's going to happen with DC and who knows? They just got to stop resetting this. I can't get used to these directors and this person's now running DC and this person's doing this and The Rock thought he was doing it for a minute and it's like they just got to find someone and really I don't want to say that this was their last chance because here's the thing. The TV shows and the animated DC stuff is outstanding. Creature Commandos is great. The Harley Quinn show is fantastic. Teen Titans, their animation studio crushes Marvel. I mean, now that Marvel has X-Men 97, it's coming back, and Marvel did great with Marvel Zombies. Right. And there's a few, Marvel properties, but DC, though, has always been recognized as a powerhouse when it comes to their animated films, shows, and shorts. So, we'll see what happens next. I mean, at the end of the day, there's so much stuff in media right now. We'll all forget, how not great this movie was in, a week or two.
Yeah.
and right now it's getting ready to, unfortunately, I don't think it's going to hit that $300 million.
No,
because
there's no way if that's true.
Here comes the Odyssey. We got Spider-Man coming up at the end of the month. It's going, and I mean, Toy Story is only in its second week and is already almost at $1 billion.
Jesus.
So it's just sandwiched in there between these powerhouses right now. But real quick before we go to rating, though, what do you think? Do you think besides the writing and of course all that, but is it superhero fatigue? Has something been done different?
I mean, the superhero fatigue for me personally is more a beef with Marvel right now.
Uh-huh.
Again, I'm ready to get out of the multiverse.
Right.
Still ready. We've been down that road many times.
The mutant saga is apparently the next saga.
Yes, and I've been ready for reviving X-Men and the mutants and stuff for way too long. So I'm ready for Marvel to just be taking on new stuff like that. Mm-hmm. So for me, I didn't have superhero fatigue for DC for this new. I was just excited, really love the Batman, of course, love Superman. Mm-hmm. Super excited for Clayface. I am excited for all this new stuff with DC, especially things like Clayface too, because it's a new story that we haven't seen.
Thank God.
So no, for me it wasn't. It's more so just the writing felt pretty flat.
Yeah,
that's all.
Okay.
And that's
Okay. Rating. What do you grade it?
I'll do 2.5 stars out of 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I figured you were going to go that route. I'm going to go 2.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 2. No 2.5. The performances were great. Millie, Jason, y'all were fantastic. The cast was good. The story just lacked. It definitely felt slow and rushed at the same time. A lot of stuff that we would have loved to have seen more of. Soundtrack is not great. Rewatchability is not fantastic, which is a huge part of my rating scale. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next with the DCEU after Clayface and, all this kind of settles down. At the end of the day, they're going to take a loss on this one. All studios take a loss every now and again. And meanwhile, a lot of the movies that we've loved so far this year, especially in the horror genre, continue to crush it. Over $300 million for Obsession, over $300 million for Backrooms. So the tide is definitely turning, I feel like. And I mean, even though Doomsday is definitely going to, I believe, I don't want to say shatter records, but I feel like it's definitely gonna do very, very well. And we'll get over $1 billion, I believe, rather easily. Yep. But I do feel like it's the tide is turning in Hollywood and for the movie going experience, but in a very good way. Mm-hmm. Where we're gonna see more independent projects, not just horror, but obviously more stuff on books and more stuff that isn't just IP related, where it's we own this IP, we got to dump out as much as we can to do what we can. So we'll see. Excellent. Well, be sure to check us out. ZDN Podcast, the website, YouTube channel, Zero Dark Nerdy, social media, all things Zero Dark Nerdy. On behalf of Baby Knife, Lucy, aka Crypta, and your boy El Nino. We'll see you next time. Peace.